is that the earth has foundations. But there's another way to look at this. I want to take a look at this passage here in in Psalm 104, verse 5. You can find a few other passages that speak about this as well. 1 Chronicles 16, also Psalm 93. But they all say essentially the same thing, speaking about this foundation of the earth. Well, let's take a look at this passage right here. You are he who founded the earth, Yasad Eretz, on its paths, Al Mechonea. It will never be dislodged. Now, that is my translation. The reason I offer my own translation is because sometimes we need to take back a look here at the original Hebrew. If we read the New King James translation, it says, "You laid the foundations of the earth so that it should never be moved." If we take a look at a few other translations, and I'm just going to share these with you so you can take a look at these yourself. You who laid the foundations of the earth so that it should not be moved forever. Let's take a look at the ESV. That says, He set the earth on its foundations so that it should never be moved. All right, you start to get the idea. It sounds like the earth has some kind of foundations. Is that what it's actually saying? Or maybe it's not saying that. Well, let's take a look at the actual Hebrew. It says here, Yasad Eretz. Okay, so this right here, Yasad, is a third person past tense. All right, so it means that he laid the foundations. All right, it's not that the earth's foundations, because that's not what it would be. That'd be Yasdei Aretz, but it doesn't say that. It's the third person singular, masculine singular. In other words, he, and you can see here even in the English, you who is in italics. Why is it in italics? Because it's not actually in the text. You who is not in the text. And you can see that for yourself. I hope you take a look at that. Let me make this just a little bit bigger. But again, Yasad Eretz, it's not saying that the earth has foundations. It's saying that he who founded the earth on what? Well, that is simply not here. You see, in the translation, they're making an assumption about the text that's not there. Fixed or established, a foundation, a fixed place, a foundation. But again, it's you who laid, or he who laid or founded the earth on its mechonea, so that it shall not be moved forever. Well, let's go back to the translation that I've provided. So again, I've left you are, that's in italics, that's what is in the New King James, for example. But as I've argued, he who founded the earth, this is Yasad Eretz, on its paths, al mechonea. Okay, so there's another way to understand this. It will never be dislodged. Here we have the words bal timot olam va'ed. So olam va'ed is never or forever and ever. So bal timot, it's never going to be moved out of its place. Again, taking a look back there at the actual Hebrew, what we see then in the Hebrew, of course, is Yasad Eretz al Mechonea. Now let me just pull up something. I want you guys to see this for yourself. This is rather important. So we're going to take a look here at the theological word book of the Old Testament. And that's going to help us to get a good feel for what is going on here. So let me just put this in, and we will pull this up. And here we have it. So established, prepared, made ready, fixed, certain, right. We'll make this big so we can look at that. All right, so it's on its place. There's some kind of a place, something that's right. The root occurs with its derivatives more than 280 times. 217 of these occurrences are verbal, appearing in all stems but the kal. The nifal and the hifil occur most often, etc. All right, so let's get right down to the meaning. As noted above, the word is used in Hebrew really means simply to bring into being. So rare it is, in fact, that BDB and KB suggest that the root is to be firm. So it's something that is firm, added straight. However, the evidence of the original etymology may be found in those occurrences where something is said simply to have been formed or fashioned, brought into existence. And none of these is the idea of fixity or firmness in view, but rather of basic formation. Particularly in the second and third, these God's role of informing the human body is significant. All right, so we have here something that is prepared, something that's established. All right, so it's not so much a foundation necessarily, but it's something that is established. You who founded the earth on its something, its fixed or established place. Okay, so something that's on its established place. And if we look again at our, our video here, what we have then is I have these two little graphics here to show that this Earth is in its fixed place. Even though it's in an orbit, it's not going to move out of that orbit. Okay, so it's on its path, it's on its established place. A path is an established place as well. So it's not going to be moved, it's not going to be dislodged out of that space. That's really what we're getting at here. That's what I believe the text is actually talking about. Now on this side, I have an electron. This is a hydrogen atom. So one electron going around the neutron, right? We have that. And the electron is going to stay there. It's not going to move. It's going to stay in its place. Now, given more energy, then of course we know that it can go to higher states of energy, etc. But that electron is there. It doesn't go away. And it's fixed. Just as the Earth is in its place, it's fixed. It's not going to go anywhere. So that's one translation. That's one possibility. Now, I'm not saying it's the only one, but here's another one. You are he who, okay, so you are is what's in the text. It's what's in the English text, the New King James, for example. But again, he who founded the earth, Yasad Eretz, on its paths, Al Mechonea, it will never be dislodged. Now, there's another way that we can understand this. If we're talking about foundations, rather than understanding it to be the circuit of the earth or the orbit of the earth, I believe that is the preferable interpretation. But again, we can understand that inside of the earth itself, there's a core, and the earth is going to stay on those. It's never going to be dislodged from that core. So that's one way to understand it. And then we have also where God says, where were you at my founding of the earth? Beyasdi aretz. Okay, where were you at my founding of the earth? Okay, that's what the language is actually saying. Now, if we go back and look at the Hebrew of that, we'll take a look there in Job chapter 38, 4 through 6. We'll go ahead and pull that up. Job 38, 4. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Now notice there, the English is not saying exactly what the Hebrew is saying. Let me just show this to you. He says, Eifo haita beyasdi. Okay, so be is at or when or in. Okay, there's different ways you can understand that. And then yasdi is my founding of the earth. Where were you at my founding of the earth? This is what we call a smichut. So the founding is being used here as a type of noun, and it's in construct with the word eretz, or aretz in this case. So where were you at my founding of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. All right, so, and then he says, to what were its foundations fastened, or who laid its cornerstone? Now, the actual Hebrew says, Alma Adoneha. All right, so upon what? And this word right here is literally the word for Lord. okay, or this pedestals or bases, sockets, tabernacles. But the word is actually coming from the word um, Adonaiah, all right? And you can see here that it's the same root as Adoniah. It's talking about something that is a Lord, something that is an established thing, something that is has a commanding presence. It's some type of a foundation, as it were. All right. But again, a foundation doesn't have to be dirt, because even if you think the earth is flat and that it's on some kind of a foundation, what are those foundations on? I mean, if it's on the back of a turtle, what is the turtle on? Is it turtles all the way down? Eventually it's going to be on nothing, if we're as far as dirt goes, right? The dirt only goes so far. Even in a flat earth scenario, the dirt can only go down so far until you come to something else, and then that something, if it's on a bunch of pedestals, then what do those go down to, right? You're going to have something all the way down to who knows what, and that's where it becomes really absurd. But the earth, as a ball in space, it has a foundation. As we already discussed, what that foundation can look like, that foundation is not the foundation is not the it doesn't have to be on the back of something. It's on the back of a turtle, for example, or whatever you want to think of it. But it can be already in a fixed place, right? It already has some kind of a foundation. Here, the earth is on an established foundation. It has a foundation. It's going around the sun, and that is a foundation. So that is just another way to understand this. And here we have the firmnesses, okay? So upon what were its firmnesses, strength, or literally the Lord's set, okay? Well, really nothing. But of course, I also forgot to mention here, or who stretched a line over it? Where is the line that God stretched over the earth? Well, if we understand that the earth is a spinning ball, then there's clearly a line right there, right? We can see it. That line is clearly visible from space, of course. Who put it there? God is the one who put it there. He put the line over the earth. It has a foundation. It's on a foundation. But can we understand that foundation completely? Well, not absolutely. But it has a foundation. It's not just willy-nilly, but there is a system, there's an order to this that God himself has established. I hope that helps you guys. We will take a look at the four corners in our next study. Take care.